Gentlemen, we're in for one hell of a series. If it continues to go on like that, the next map is none other than Cursed Hollow. So once again, we're moving from one standard battleground to the next one. And the way this first one played out already, I can't wait to see what the teams have in store.
Yep, same here. This was the last game we saw on this. Was very interesting, and we now know Hungary, they put a little bit of stead in the Dahaka, and this is another map where you can gain some really good value.
Would you want to see it again?
I think it worked fantastically, actually. Good plays coming out from Dahaka, but at the same time, I'm not sure we need a Dahaka that early.
All right, so maybe save it for later.
Yeah, maybe in the second rotation, maybe if their first pick at the top 3 picks.
Yeah, so, yeah, definitely. Why not? In the meantime, though, we have to ask ourselves, Team Belgium, which weapons do they still have left? The Naziba was shut down. It was denied. Maybe Hungary is going for the same strategy again. And it looked like they weren't really the same team when they didn't have it.
To be fair, it was Enabler who usually plays the Nazibo, and that was really solid Malfurion play. No issues with that, but he has his favorites.
Definitely true. What could be another strong way to approach this draft if you're behind here, Bakery?
I think Cursed Hollow is a map that Hungary is going to love to play on, actually. It's a standard map, and they showed once that game gets down to their standard and they know what they're doing, they are a scary team to go up against. I think Belgium, they're probably going to have to look to pull off another similar combo like that Diablo, but they need to get the execution correct in the early and mid-game this time.
And it looks like Belgium says, nope, we do not want to deal with that Dahaka again. We do get rid of it. And, you know, their opponents, they respond with another global ban.
A very anti-Zerg game so far, with Dahaka and the Abathur banned out. Now, I don't know if we've seen Belgium play the Abathur, but it has had great success throughout this tournament in general.
In the meantime, though, once again, cheer for your favorites here. Ladies and gentlemen, hashtag HUWin if you think Hungary is going to take this series 2-0, or hashtag BEWin if you're cheering for the Belgium team and you want them to get another chance of winning this potentially.
I'm looking at the bottom of the screen, and the chat...
Give them a little bit.
Yeah. The votes get reset between games, guys, so this is potentially why we see this. Or maybe you guys really do just believe that Hungary are that strong. And with that opening, I'm going to blame them too much.
Tassadar Tracer, a very scary combination, and one that works excellently on Cursed Hollow, of course. Belgium, they might not have the tools to deal with this.
Uh-oh. The Hungarian dominance just continues to maintain, and starting to get a little bit worrying for Belgium now, because not only were they defeated in game number 1, but their fans seem to have left them.
Yeah, it's still holding at a solid 95% for Hungary as Belgium. Let's see if their picks can convince them. Let's see if their picks can convince the fans to come back to them. EGC is still available. Greymade is still available. All of these like top picks that we've seen throughout the draft so far.
All right, yet another Tracer game, and this is definitely something we could observe throughout this tournament. Tracer, normally a pick you may want to save for the last pick maybe to really surprise your opponents. A lot of teams here at the Nexus game seem to be like, nope, we're just going to confidently log in first.
97% currently in favor of Team Hungary.
Come on, the Varian
comes in for
That's got to surprise and convince a lot of people now. Come on.
Varian to come in to try and counter the Tracer over the very popular ETC, but they want to try and deal with the biggest threat.
Varian, definitely a solid pickup, and this is what I was talking about. I'm not sure they have the tools, if they did not lock this Varian, to actually counter that Tracer. So they give up a lot for it, but this might be the step they needed.
I'm going to get my phone out and type hashtag BEWin in chat right now. You just wait for it. But
well, they just gained 2% with that Varian, with that Varian Greymade pick.
No, but of course you're totally right, Bakery. Varian, although he has seen a lot less play than a few months ago, he's still a formidable counter to the Tracer Tassadar combo.
Absolutely. If he can land that taunt, he can be huge. Another hero who would have been good, would have been Brightwing, but Hungary, they know their counters. They banned it away.
But at the same time, look at how this meta game has played out. Tracer wants a cleanse against Varian, because that is how you try and turn that team fight when Tracer gets taunted. But they banned out the Brightwing because it was a counter. Belgium, they saw the writing on the wall, and they banned out the Uther. That's the other cleanse.
Yeah. Does Lily still have cleanse before her rework?
She does.
So Lily would be the other option, but that's not enough healing.
The thing is, Lily is also highly unreliable in the healing. She cannot always reach out the target she wants to get. And with a Tracer in the mix, I'm not sure that is the way you want to go.
I would agree. She's not in the position, so they have to go with Ariel here. And Tracer, not known for being the perfect energy generator. We're just seeing a lot of faith from Hungary in this Ariel here.
I think they need to pick the Oriole as the pseudo cleanse from the Aegis. The Crystal Aegis, it comes out, it effectively removes CC because it does put them into stasis. And when they come out, they can cast abilities again. They're going to try and use that to save the Tracer from Varian's taunt.
Right, what do you want to follow up on now? The Belgium team is basically committed on a blow-up composition with the Greymane engage, the Varian, or vice versa. Should they invest even more into that path, or do you think they need something else now?
With now Aegis in position, I would not mind potentially something a little bit more setup. We've seen Chromies in the past being used to follow up on Ariel Aegises, and of course she is one of the best counters to that Ariel in the game, so maybe something like that. And we've seen very effective moves from Chromie against Tracers in general.
I would very much like to see Li Ming. She can take Force Armor at 1 to make her much less susceptible to the Tracer, but the big thing is the combo coming out of the Aegis would be huge.
They go with neither of those. They bring out the Malfurion and the Illidan.
All right, I mean, I personally was asking for an Illidan pick all tournament long. Finally, it is here. Is it good, though, here in this very instance?
There's so far very few hard counters against it. Ariel has a blind.
I think Tracer is actually a very underrated counter to Illidan. She has fantastic 1v1 potential against him. Her melee and also bomb do indeed go through the evasion, and
Sonya too.
It looks like a very weird situation for Illidan.
Arthas is still available as well.
Oh yeah, and they do need the tag.
It could be Arthur's main tank. That would be, I think, the pick I'd like to see from Hungary. It is slightly undervalued in terms of engaging, but when the enemy team has a Varian and Illidan, it seems to make sense.
There's a backup option here if they don't want to risk taking out Arthas. Muradin is still available. He also gets a little bit of attack speed slow and has potentially a little bit more engage potential.
Or disengage potential with a Haymaker. There's many ways the Hungarian team could play this, but they do go for the Arthas.
The commitment on that Arthas coming in. Now, the Illidan does give a little bit more potential for that blow-up potential. Taunt into a hunt could be the kind of thing they are looking for here.
It could be, but we were speaking about the Aegis is the pseudo-cleanse. Again, you cannot hunt instantaneously. There is a setup time and there is a travel time. So Tracer can very easily use her recall to dodge that, even if it is either to engage or as a follow-up.
Unless it is Ariel who is the target. Blowing up Ariel is going to remove that potential protection from Tracer, and they do have the tools to do this.
Let's speak more about Illidan here a little bit, because I always find his level 10 choices to be very interesting. Sometimes you will see Illidan players wait until the very last moment to lock in that heroic ability to adapt to the course of the battle, to the course of the game. What speaks in favor of Metamorphosis?
I don't think Metamorphosis is going to be viable this game. We're looking at Arthas, we're looking at Sonya, we're looking at Tracer. As soon as Metamorphosis comes out, it's very easy for Tracer to dash onto the Metamorphosis, drop the pulse bomb on it, and follow that up with a melee, doing a huge amount of burst damage.
Same with Sonya. If she's able to see where Illidan is going to reappear, a solid poison spear can really ruin his day, whereas this could be where Belgium are going to gain the advantage if they were to play with the hunt and go for a split push style on Illidan. It's where they can try and sneak out an XP lead.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Illidan has been deployed, and let's see if Hungary is prepared.
Let's see, indeed. They're currently 1-0 up. It is Team Hungary with Nuti, the Hydra, Dobos, Kasi, and Fana.
And their opponents, Team Belgium, they need a win with Heiza on the Greymane. Lenfield is playing Varian. Enabler goes for the Malfurion once again. Taluf on that Illidan, and Brabio plays the Rega.
As we begin into the match, and we will once again be keeping an eye on that Illidan level 10. Even though we seem to be leaning a bit more towards the hunt, we have been proved very wrong with talents in the past. So we will be watching him very carefully. His level 1 talent, though, very key in showing the kind of style he wants to go for, and it is the Immolation.
And look at Carsey, by the way, switching from the main tank, Arthas, in the last game onto that Tracer once more. It is incredible to see how flexible, how adaptable this player can be.
The Carsey factor coming in once again. And here's the situation. Who do you think is the bigger factor, Carsey or Tix?
Hard to say, man. If I had to choose my own personal all-star player of the tournament up to this point, I would probably always go for the Varian.
Can we have them both? Can we have Carsey, Tix, and potentially the Varian player if the Varian player is able to perform?
The moment either Carsey or Tix is going to lock in the Varian, I'm going to sell my soul.
Bit more likely for it to be Carsey here, as Tix very much that ranged carry player.
Yeah.
Not seen a ranged carry Varian in a while.
Don't even think he has that. He can do a lot of things with his sword. He can double grip it, he can split it.
Pure Q mage, nothing else. Only the level 1 talent. But yeah, it's not going to happen. But maybe for Carsey, we will have to see in the future. For now, both teams putting pressure, but the 3-man lane for Belgium is currently not doing so hot.
Yeah, and Illidan, of course, is heavily countered by the Sonya in lane. Yeah. Most of Sonya's damage comes from abilities, so the evasion is probably not going to be as useful as it could have been otherwise, and a lot of damage on Heisler. Yeah. Stays alive though, thanks to double support. Yeah, not too bad.
And one of the, you were talking about the fact is, they're losing this bot lane. Illidan is hard countered by Sonya in that top lane. And guess what Varian's not good at before level 10? The answer is everything.
No, Varian definitely needs to build up more muscle in the early game to reach his final form at level 10. That's the only downside I'll give to the hiking of the Glorious Alliance. In the meantime, though, level 10 is, of course, going to be a very important power spike. We can see the taunt, which is more than likely going to happen here. Things will drastically change in favor of the Belgium team once that is achieved.
Very much so. That will be attempted. Until then, they're going to be losing all lanes, so they're trying to gain advantages elsewhere. Illidan actually trying to jump past Sonya in that top lane to when the minion waves arrive to clear the minion wave without fighting the Sonya, and Rhaegar grabbing mercenaries for his team, trying to gain an advantage that way.
Speaking of mercenaries, the Hungarian team doesn't even think of taking the mercenary camp, the Siegestein camp on their side, because they realize, oh, hold that thought, Carsey's going in, is he going to have enough damage to pop the Rhaegar? Nope, Rabio survives for now.
Rabio survives, but he took a lot of damage there and needs to be careful about his positioning. That little corner is absolutely dangerous against this kind of very solid very solid Aria we're seeing for Phobos.
And that was actually really well timed, the assault onto the Belgium team here. They basically brought Rabio and Heisler so low that they had to wait for the healing coming in from the healing fountain first. And during all of this, they already had established themselves a nice position to dominate that first tribute. Now though, when is Sonya going to go for the mercenary camp? She needs to be of interest to two factors. A, someone else needs to soak in lane, and B, she must make sure that Taluf is not going to gank her while doing the mercenaries.
Spear does not land, and Taluf actually quite low on health. This would not be a terrible time now. And in fact, Illidan is going to be the one to ditch the lane first to help Rhaegar do that bruiser camp. They're going to attempt, like we said, to gain advantages elsewhere.
Exactly. It's not like Rhaegar really needs to help. He's definitely capable of doing this all by himself. But one, they do not want to drop Rhaegar all too low in health and make him waste mana to heal himself up. And B, they want to have a quicker rotation if they do the mercenary camp quicker.
So Ariel going for that energized chord. We've not been seeing that the majority of the games Ariel's been played so far.
Absolutely. The energized chord, of course, helping with auto attacks. If you drop in auto attacks, you're going to get more hope generated, and that is very reliable. As you said, there's not a dedicated hope battery in their craft, right?
Tass and Tracer are the closest, and neither of them are ideal. They both can. Heisler, so much damage coming out here.
Yeah. Speaking of Tassadar, once again going for that ever so reliable Psystorm build at level 1. And we have really seen an evolution of Tassadar going from that auto attack build. Oh, Dobos, careful, buddy. Dobos, of course, trying to get a little bit closer to the boss there so they can ping-pong the aggro and spread out the damage.
They're jumping it between everyone who is healthy. We are seeing a load of Belgium members moving up to top lane. Looks like they, actually that is literally everyone. Looks like they want to try and make the play onto Sonya to pick up the kill. She's so tanky. Can they finish her? Yes, they can. Even dropping the root to make sure she can't escape. As Sonya did not take the root removal on her Whirlwind, and it was already active.
Yeah, and this boss takes so long for the Hungarian team. They basically left their top lane naked and wide open. In the meantime, Taluf almost getting stunned by the Golem Smash.
Lenfield positioning himself as the stalwart defender. He does have his full defense parry build complete, so he is now very hard to kill, especially against someone like Tracer.
Absolutely, and not only that, he's going to be able to deflect most of the damage, but also reset his overpower at level 1. So both Tracer and Tassadar will have to keep a close eye on their H key on the keyboard. We talked about that yesterday. You need to stop attacking when Varian raises his shield and blocks all the damage, otherwise you're going to give him cooldown reduction.
And that cooldown reduction makes him even harder to kill with that wonderful shield wall. Both teams pushing with their boss here, but because Belgium started first, we do see the ports forced out by Team Hungary.
All right, the boss is already knocking at the Belgium bottom door here. How much pressure will Illidan be able to dish out? Both teams getting ever so close to reaching their heroic abilities.
As we do see the tribute spawning much nearer to and in a much better position for Team Hungary, so they're going to casually pick that up with the Tassadar.
Okay, we saw the taunt go live. Ancestor healing being locked in. That tribute gets casually picked up by Hungary due to the location, which was so much more close to their own base location.
There is that hunt coming in for the Illidan, giving him that special push potential. Right now, he's running down to his team because of an aggressive play coming out from Hungary. Here is the silence from the Twilight Dream as they focus onto Ariel. The bomb is dropped. Taluf, friend or foes, back to his team. Ariel still alive, though. Ancestral keeping Taluf alive. They can keep going with this. Sonya is miles away.
Varian holding the front line, and they continue to fight 4 versus 5. Ariel didn't have the Crystal Aegis anymore, and they chased the enemies down without Sonya being there. Huge miscommunication on the side of the Hungarian team.
The 4v5 chase not going as I'm sure Hungary hoped it would, and they pay dearly for taking such a risky move here. Taluf using the wall. Oh! Outplayed.
Carsey's still alive.
Can he get out? We're seeing the
No
chase
way.
from Varian. Oh! Gets sniped. And that even with the Illidan display, that is still a 3-for-1 in favor of Belgium.
Yeah, that was totally worth it for Belgium. Not only were they able to pick up 3 kills, which is huge, but they also had the mercenary momentum going in their favor. They were knocking on the front door here in the bottom lane, get 1, 2 towers, and immediately they're being reinforced by a couple of heroes here as well. And this bottom fort is likely going to fall, but I wanted to highlight the drama that was going on in that previous team fight. I think Ariel actually misused her Crystal Aegis. She wanted to hit herself, but instead I think she cast it on someone else. I'm not sure if that was intended.
I think it was actually cast earlier because she was pressured by Illidan the first time, which is what forced Illidan to back out after he got bombed. But like you said, long cooldown once you've used it, and they still wanted to go in. It was far too risky.
And then, of course, the re-engage, which was so risky. Sonya was nowhere near to join the fray, and she's so important when it comes to controlling Illidan and keeping him in check.
Zenfield starting the channel, but a small little auto attack from Carsey is enough to deny that, at least originally. This is going to, this time, actually be a 5v5. Taluf is here. He has the hunt and is very close. And here it is. Tracer. The Aegis is beautiful, but Twilight Dream is nice as well. Tracer surviving thanks to the recall, though. Arthas finishes his quest, but is getting chased down. Taluf can't do it anymore, though, thanks to that slow, but it's still enough to kill off the Sonya. And with Dobos trying to save Sonya, he will get punished for being out of position.
That was a brutal fight. I actually can't believe Carsey survived that on the Tracer. I definitely saw him fall there. But this is still a terrible outcome for Team Hungary. 2 members down at the curse on lock, and Illidan, guess what? He's one of the strongest heroes when it comes to taking down structures.
Yeah, those were frame level differences in that team fight. And now with Taluf, he is going to just cause mayhem. He dodges the route, he's cleaning up that keep, and that is a 10-minute keep, a 9-minute keep, sorry, coming in for Belgium.
So the main issue here was that targets dropped so low immediately, Ariel couldn't heal them all back. And guess what is Ariel's greatest weakness when it comes to healing? Sustained healing. She needs her team to do well in order to keep the healings up. If you get brought down to low health early on, Ariel is the worst support you could possibly wish for.
Yeah, she is. She can be in serious trouble here. And Tassadar, who is one of the best supports you can wish for in this situation, is starting to be countered as Varian picks that shattering throw.
Very nice observation here. The shattering throw, each of Varian's auto attacks is going to shred shields innately. He can also activate it, though, to deal a huge amount of chunk of shield damage.
Which is going to be huge on Tassadar and potentially later on Sonya.
Very true.
Who can take her, not Ignore Pain, what is the other one?
The Nerves of Steel.
Nerves of Steel, and even onto Ariel, who can take her shield at later levels as well.
I think he summarized it beautiful. There's going to be a lot of shields available for Team Hungary, and I think especially the Nerves of Steel should always be targeted by that shattering throw.
And that We will see if that is the case. And of course, it does increase Variant's passive damage to shields as well, making him all the more useful for focusing down, guess what, the shield target, which is almost usually going to be Tracer.
Exactly. The Tassadar shields are now probably non-existent on the taunted target because Variant is going to keep smashing and bashing on that target in the first place. So a nice adaptation here. Let's see how the Hungarian team will be able to play around it. But as we said it before, this is a much better game for Team Belgium. It really feels like they were able to read the draft very well, and of course they're playing according to it very nicely.
Yeah, and Belgium, their boss is going straight for core, actually. They could try and make it.
They cannot ignore it. They can definitely not ignore it. Like, if that boss hits the core,
it's going to do some
other things are going to hit the
damage. I think they are going to... It looks like they might want to go with it. No, they don't have 16 yet. They're not going to take the risk.
Sonya is really good at dealing with bosses, though, so that shouldn't be a problem. Tracer as well, a lot of single target damage actually available. And if they focus too much on that boss, or pushing with that boss to Belgium, that is, they're probably going to lose the bottom keep there as well. The Golem should be dealt with very handsomely, though, overall, on both sides.
Overall, this boss worked way better for Team Hungary, due to the fact that their one is actually getting structure damage, and the fact there's nothing on the map that Belgium could have been getting while the entirety of Hungary were distracted by the boss that Belgium took.
All right, so all of a sudden the things, or the balance of power has shifted completely compared to game one. Almost a 2-level lead in favor of Belgium. However, they do not have any tributes locked in currently. So Belgium or Hungary has a lot of time catching up, and they would love to get that next tribute so much.
They really would, and it is spawning. This would be a curse for Team Hungary, but the positioning and the level 16 for Team Belgium will guarantee it for them.
That's a nice thing about Curse Hollow, of course. Sometimes the map, especially in the late game, gives you a lot of time to catch up when there's no immediate curse point nearby. So now Hydra, Fana, and Dobas, they're just trying to soak the top lane. Maybe they can even destroy a forward, top, or mid to balance things out even more.
Top looks like the target. They're going to move in here. Arthur's in position in case the gank attempt was made by Team Belgium. But Belgium, they are far more interested in this bot keep wall.
Oh yeah, that is a very smart call by the Belgium team. They're like, you know what? If you want to push our top lane, we're going to take everything you have at the bottom.
Yep, ports are coming out. Sonya is forced back. A lot of people ran back. But that's all Belgium want here. They just want that wall. They're not going to push any further. All they've done there is they've saved their fort and got even more XP.
Exactly, they didn't even have to send a single hero to defend it. That's the cool thing about it. The macro play, the aggression being put on by Belgium took care of that. Now they can fall back, take a siege giant camp, preserve all the lanes as is, especially the catapults. Illidan could probably try to push that in a little bit more because he will have the hunt available to join almost globally.
Indeed, and I believe you can get it globally at level 20, which they are approaching. With, still a little bit further away. They're only at level 17 here, but it's still a possibility, and one with that split push potential will be a little bit quicker than for Hungary.
And this position is not too bad for the Belgium team. They have already established themselves a nice position. They're still waiting for Illidan, though, but as we said, the hunt is available. The Tassadar Oracle, though, tells Team Hungary exactly what their opponents are trying to do.
Lenfield protected by the way. Taluf ice blocking as the hunt is Aegis here. The Twilight Dream is very nice on the Sonya as Illidan is going to try and chase it down, but Arthur's damage too good as Nexus keep it alive. Going up, finishes off Sonya as it's a massacre by Belgium, tasting through the damage here as they want Kasi and Dobos. Dobos will drop. Kasi might have more blinks to keep himself alive as he's going to try and kite 4 people. Here comes Fana. Fana can't shield him and down goes Tracer.
Yeah, that is probably going to be lights out here. Team Belgium marching forward. They don't have to deal with this bottom keep. They can ignore it because top had already fallen before. Take a little bit of slowing, a little bit of stalling, but the death numbers are still looking good. Yep. Illidan is still chasing Tassadar, though. Illidan needs to be on the core right now.
Well, the fact is, if Tassadar's not here, there are no shields on this core to keep it alive and give time for Hungary to respawn. Hungary are coming back, but with no Tassadar, the core is too low. And that is going to be GG as Team Belgium take game number 2.
What a play here by the Belgium teams towards the end. Beautifully done. And you may wonder what went so much better. I think it was the spot-on coordination. It was much easier to execute their team composition compared to game 1. It just looked better all across the board.
It did, in fact, look better. And we saw there in the first game, we saw the big strengths of the Ariel. What we saw there were the weaknesses. If she is focused and takes the pressure, yeah, she gets the Aegis off, she blocks the initial engage, but Illidan isn't just initial engage, he is relentless engage.
Varian is pretty good here, eh?
Absolutely. Varian performing well and Oriel not performing well is a good summary of the game, I think. So, getting straight into my replays, actually, the first one I have for you guys is actually 2 key mistakes by the Oriel player. So, watch this. First of all, Dobos on the Oriel, he gets rooted first. And this puts him in a lot of trouble. Hun comes in, Silence comes out, he misclicks the Aegis, but he didn't need it even, he does survive. So now they chase, but look at Sonya. Sonya's not even close, they're chasing 4v5, and Dobos, he runs in again, he gets rooted a second time. He's got no Aegis now, and he cannot save himself, and this is actually where Hungary lose control of the game. Giving up 2 kills, and actually, I think 1 more on this chase.
All right, this game reminded me a little bit of the German game we watched a couple of days ago when they picked in the Varian, they went for a pick comp, and they managed to stabilize in the series.
Yep, and that's exactly what we've seen here. Belgium learning from their opponents in this group, but in this case, like you said, very nicely done indeed, and misplays from Hungary, not having that Sonya with them for that kind of push.
We spoke about Oriel being the only person the Belgium could reliably engage on, but they got reliable engages on the Oriel far too often. As we go into our second clip, though, we do see that they engage on Tracer. So as we play it forward, we see this is 2 tributes each. This is the crux of the game, and they instantly engage onto the Tracer. The Aegis comes slightly late. He's too low already, so we use the Aegis as a studio cleanse, but the silence was huge, and that means it's effectively a 4v5 because Tracer cannot get any healing and gets absolutely nothing done this entire fight.
Yeah, with Ariel not able to get even close here. She's desperately trying. Instead, has used a heal on herself. And that's the big issue when you do not land that Aegis in time.
And the lack of a hope generator was really crippling the Hungarian team, I feel. Ariel was even forced to pick Energized Cord at level 7, which causes her to attack or to gain more hope when she uses basic attacks. You could really see the Ariel pick feeling a little bit underwhelming because the team comp wasn't designed around her.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so guys, we're not just done yet. There is more games to be played, especially in this series. We want to find out who's going to take the cake. But before that happens, we're going to go on a short commercial break, grab some snacks, grab a drink, and enjoy the goodness that is the Heroes of the Storm Nexus games.
The pathetic wretches of